lucky yours in his eyes, Senor Batman, with your week 7 wrap-up. In week 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 preview show. Now we had a big week this week, a lot of big matchups. 2 matchups were settled by less than a point. Holy shit. Let's get right to it. Okay, first up, the champ is here, taking on RG3PO in a rematch from last year's championship. Excuse me. RG3PO gets another victory, 104.6 to 103.9. By my math, that's 0.7 points. Holy shit. Keep in mind this too. Going into this matchup's last day on Monday night, champ is here, has Victor Cruz. RG3PO had no one. Couldn't get it done, even with Victor Cruz. Tough break for champ is here, but RG3PO rolls on to 6-1. Next up, you got User Pick and Drinko Forte. User Pick gets a big win, 135.8 to 102. I thought this would be a little bit closer, but it didn't matter. Vincent Jackson comes up big again for User Pick, getting him a lot of points, and he gets a big victory. And actually, when you see this overall, he's the second highest scorer, which we're getting to the highest scorer right here, which is Hernandez and Chains versus American Joker. American Joker wins 142.5 to 80. Hernandez and Chains, since going undefeated, has just lost week after week after week and has not looked good during this time. He's lost by lots of points. Lowest score in the league. Starting to wonder, was those first 4 wins a fluke? Because the last 3 losses, he looked really bad. But American Joker gets a win, and as you'll see in a second, moves into 4th place, which is a playoff spot. Let's move on. Multiple goregasms lost to Team Megatron. That's 2 losses in a row for multiple goregasms. 2 losses since being on the show. We're going to talk to him later probably, and we're going to ask him about this. Like, what's going on with your team? Because he faces RG3PO, me, this week. But Team Megatron gets a big win, 126 to 114. Big problem was multiple goregasms. Started Jay Cutler over Aaron Rodgers, which I think he learned. When you draft Aaron Rodgers, you play him every week. I don't care if he's not wearing socks or shoes. You put him out there. Because he got you nothing. In fact, he got you negative 0.9 points. If you start Aaron Rodgers, he would have won. So keep that in mind, everyone. Next up, and finally, you have Slay City Slayers slaying, you may say, Team Roy. Slay City Slayers had a big game for Matt Stafford, a bigger game than Team Roy had from Peyton Manning, not much bigger, 1 point, but it was enough, as you can see, 102.3 to 101.7. That close, very close matchup. I mean, 0.6 points, it was only 1 point, or 0.1 points closer than the RG3PO one. So 2 matchups decided by less than 0.7 points. Close week. So basically, overall, winners from week 7 were RG3PO, User Pay, American Joker, Team Megatron, and Slay City Slayers. Now let's go look at the standings or some shit. I don't fucking know what you want me to do. Do something, you just tell me what you want. Okay. Standings. RG3PO sitting alone, still at 6-1 on top. Next, you have Team Megatron at 5-2. Then you got 3 teams tied for 3rd place. Multiple Goregasms at 4-3. American Joker at 4-3. And Hernandez and Chains at 4-3. Right now, if the season was over right now, American Joker and Team Megatron, or excuse me, and multiple Goregasms would be 3rd and 4th, based on points. Hernandez and Chains may drop out. Well, he's actually out of the playoffs right now, but he's still tied for a 4-3 record. So a win this week could be big. Next up, you have 2 teams who are 1 game out of the playoffs right now. These are 2 teams that maybe a few weeks ago, people were saying, they're done, don't worry about them, bye week, whatever. Especially Slay City Slayers, because he's a little bitch. He cries and whines, he's a bitch. Anyways, User pick 3 and 4. Slay City Slayers 3 and 4. Both of them, like I said, one game out of the playoffs. User pick, since winning their first game, has not lost. They have been on a tear. And I might add that he's not lost since being on the Senor Batman show. So Multiple Goregasms has bad luck since he's been here. And User pick has had good luck. So you can say, take that as you is. Is that a Senor Batman curse? Kind of like a Madden curse? I don't fucking know. I ain't fucking doing no shit. So anyhow, then you got 3 times tied for, we'll just call it last place. 2 and 5. You got Team Roy, Trinco Forte, and the championship. Team Roy, we're over halfway through the season. Can you pick a team name? I'm going to change this. I think I'm going to try and think of something to you when I get off with the show. Anyhow, but even those guys are technically only 2 games out of the playoffs. They're still in these. None of you are done. You still can make that run. Because you got lucky because Multiple Goregasms lost this week. You know, Hernandez Chains lost a game this week. I mean, Team Megatron got a win because one of those 2 guys had to win. And you knew they were going to. And, I mean, there you go. American Joker, is he for real or not? That's the other thing you don't know. So that's the thing. Is you have 3 teams. They're still 2 games out. So you're not. It's not over until the fat lady sings. I don't know any fat ladies, but if you find when she's singing, then it is over. So let's go to the preview for next week. But actually, you know what? I almost forgot my favorite thing. The points for and the points against. Points for. Still in the lead is RG3PO with 914.5. Then you got Multiple Goregasms at 904.7. Team Megatron at 877.3. Team Roy at 837.8. So even though he's in last, he is the 4th highest scorer. Bad luck is the only thing I can think. Anywho, American Joker at 831.8. User pick at 822. Slay City Slayers at 787.6. Trinco Forte at 772.7. Champions here at 748.2. And then way behind, over 200 points from first place to last place, Hernandez and Chains at 712.2. So Hernandez and Chains has just completely fallen off the map. Then you look at points against. Multiple Goregasms has had the most points scored against him. Probably why he's lost the last couple weeks. He's had a lot of points scored against him. 858.2 points. Then Team Roy, who is in last place, part of a tie for last place, was 4th highest scorer, but he's the 2nd highest points against, which is 853.7. Almost the most. He's not that far behind Multiple Goregasms. Then Team Megatron at 848.3. American Joker at 843.8. Trinco Forte at 837.5. Slay City Slayers at 828.9. User Pick at 806.9. The currently leader, RG3PO, this guy at 795.8. Hernandez and Chains at 789.4. And Champions here at 746.9. Proving once again the point that's been made for weeks that Hernandez and Chains and Champions here has just struggled this season. They're not scoring lots of points, and they're not getting lots of points scored against them, so they can't say, oh, it's just bad scheduling. No, it's you're not scoring enough points. I do think the Champions here is doing better than they were before, whereas Hernandez Chains seems to be on a downward slide. Now we can get to the preview shows. We can get to it now. Okay. This is my matchup of the week. I know I'm in it, but this is it. RG3PO versus Multiple Goregasms. I'm going to talk to him in a little bit. We're going to see what's going to happen here. But, let's see if I can zoom this in for you guys. I don't think you really can see it anyways, can you? Well, anywho, on RG3PO, he's got RG3 versus Denver. Could be good. Denver's not very good on pass defense. I mean, Tony Romo lit them up. RG3 had a big week last week. Will it continue? We'll see. Then you got McCoy and Jackson. Demarius Thomas, Haley Douglas. Julius Thomas at tight end. Justin Blackman and Jarrett Boykin. And flex, Raiders D. And kicker is Garrett Hartley. Kind of rhymed there. Didn't mean to. Anywho, then over on this side, Aaron Rodgers is quarterback. Then you got Reggie Bush and Frank Gore, who's listed as questionable. I haven't heard nothing too bad, though, so he must be fine. Des Bryant and Wes Welker, who are both questionable, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Joseph Foria, Stephen Ridley and Ruben Randall in the flex. Seahawks D, and Steven Gostowski. Now, I wasn't going to predict something for this. They are projecting right now for RG3PO to win 165 to 149. I don't think it'll be that high scoring of a contest, for one. And for two, I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. I know it's already pretty close. I think it's like, what, 16 points? But regardless, I think it's going to be a close week. And I would probably, just for looking at the lineups, pick multiple goregasms to win. But RG3PO has been pretty lucky. Does his luck run out this week? Does my luck run out this week? I don't fucking think so. But we'll see. I'm not going to pick it just for that reason. It's just a tough one. And I'm in it, so obviously I think I'm going to win. But this would be the one week where I pick against myself. Although I do have utmost confidence that I will win. Next up, kind of could be a playoff matchup to make it into the playoffs. User Pick, who's been on an absolute tear as of late, versus American Joker, who's also won his way into the playoffs after the last couple weeks. Lost to me a few weeks ago, and ever since then he's been doing pretty good. Well, American Joker has Russell Wilson, Roy Hulu as his running back with Mike Tolbert, with Matt Forte being out. Then you've got Steve Smith and Pierre Garçon. Tight end, he's got Jordan Cameron, Hakeem Nicks and Vernon Davis in his flex. Packers D and Blair Walsh as his kicker. User Pick is going with Matt Ryan at quarterback, Jamal Charles and Alfred Morris at running back. Very interesting that one has one running back, one has the other running back from Washington, and they're facing each other. See who gets the more points. Who had a big week last week. Vincent Jackson and Brandon LaFell as his wide receivers. Tight end, Jason Witten. Flex, Stevie Johnson and Charles Clay. Defense, he's got Bills D going up against New Orleans. And then he's got his kicker, Mason Crosby. Personally, this is a tough one to pick. But I'm going to go with User Pick. He's been on a tear. Vincent Jackson faces Carolina. You got to think that's going to be good. They got a good front seven in Carolina, but after that, you'd think Vincent Jackson could get a touchdown or two. Jamal Charles against Cleveland. I think Charles is the best running back in fantasy football right now. And he doesn't matter who he's facing, he always does good. Also, I think that Alfred Morris is going to get back to playing well this week. And I don't think Roy Hulu is going to have as big a week as last week. I think you already had his best fantasy game this year last week. He's not going to have another 3-touchdown crazy performance where he goes off like he's fucking on fire. Like someone say, hey, Roy Hulu, I do not like you. I'm going to set you on fire because you are a fucking piece of shit. And then they lit him on fire and he scored 3 touchdowns. No, it's not going to happen. So no one's got the fire this week. And also Mike Tolbert, as his other running back on American Joker, he might vulture a touchdown from D'Angelo Williams. But I don't know. Tampa's got a good run defense. They might not even let him get that close. I think Cam Newton's got a better chance of running one in than Tolbert. Maybe I'm wrong. I do like Russell Wilson in Seattle, but I also like Matt Ryan versus Arizona. All in all, like I said, I pick User Pick. It should be a close matchup, just like last week. There was a lot of close matchups. I think this one will be one like last week, where it could be decided by less than a point. I think it'll be User Pick by just a few points, but I think he gets another victory to finally get to 500 since being 0 and I believe it was 0 and 3 or he was 0 and 4, and then he got his first win. He's 3 and 4. I think he goes 500 after this week and ties himself with American Joker and puts him in potentially in a playoff spot, depending on what happens with the other two guys, Multiple Goregasms and Hernandez and Chains, who's actually part of our next matchup. Team Megatron with Hernandez and Chains. Right now, I know I didn't do this for the last matchup, I'm sorry, but right now they're projecting Team Megatron to win 168 to 120. And I think I'm going to pretty much agree. Michael Vick comes back after being injured against the New York Giants. Giants look good, well not even good, they looked okay against Minnesota and got their first victory. I don't think they're going to get another one, and let's be honest, well, not this season necessarily, but I'm saying they're not going to get another one 2 weeks in a row. Philadelphia, I think, is a better team. These teams already faced each other. Philadelphia won. I think Michael Vick goes and has a big week as his return. Giovanni Bernard against the Jets. Jets have a pretty decent defense. But I still think Bernard maybe gets away with maybe a passing touchdown or something like that. Or should I say a receiving touchdown. Eddie Lacy against Minnesota. Eddie Lacy, I think, is pretty much one of my favorite running backs of this week. He's really just getting into his groove, and he's really starting to become a top back in the NFL. And he's got Deshaun Jackson and Jordy Nelson. Jimmy Graham back, probably going to play. Calvin Johnson and Jeff Cumberland. I do not understand the Cumberland start. Let's play a little look at your bench and see why. He could start Denarius Moore or Mike Williams. To be honest, I would start Denarius Moore over Jeff Cumberland. I don't know what that's all about, but your team, Team Megatron, not mine. And he's got 49ers D and Alex Henry as his defense and his kicker, respectively. Hernandez and Chains is starting Tom Brady, who he traded for, who's doing shit. Let's face it, Tom Brady right now isn't even a top 20 quarterback. I said it. You want some of this Tom Brady? Come get it. You know where I fucking live. If you don't know where I live, I give you my address, you piece of shit. Anyways, Adrian Thomas, what the fuck have I been drinking? Adrian Peterson, who has not been Adrian Peterson of old, and no Sean Marino at running back. As of right now, he's not set his lineup, I don't believe, now that I'm looking at it. Because he has Alshon Jeffrey and Jacoby Jones, who are both on the bye. So I would probably have to guess he's going to start Anquan Bolden and maybe Sidney Rice. Eddie Royal possible? No, Eddie Royal's going to buy too. We'll just say Anquan Bolden and Sidney Rice. And I'm sure he'll start Colin Kaepernick, which is a lot better than Tom Brady this week, especially against Jacksonville. So a little better already. But he's got Tony Gonzalez at tight end, Maurice Jones-Drew and Greg Jennings in his flex, Dolphins D is his D, and Matt Prater is his kicker. I'm sorry, but this one is probably going to be my beatdown of the week. First time ever. Team Megatron, I think, is going to take it to Hernandez and Chains. I just feel Hernandez and Chains' team is just kind of falling apart. Adrian Peterson isn't playing well. He's just not doing as good as he was in the beginning. Was the beginning a fluke? Is now a fluke? I don't know. I think a lot of these trades he's done lately, the one where he gave up Welker, kind of screwed him. I mean, he's got Marino, which is pretty good. His running back slot's good, but they just haven't been doing as well. And, you know, Jeffrey's out this week, so that doesn't help him. And who else did he get in that trade? I want to say, is he still here? Oh, Tony Gonzalez. That's obviously good, too. The one I think that hurt him, though, is the Tom Brady one, because he gave up Jordy Nelson, and he could really use Jordy Nelson this week, and he doesn't really need Tom Brady, because he's not as good as Colin Kaepernick. But hey, fancy football, what happens? Anywho, so I picked Team Megatron to get the victory. A definitive victory, even. Next up, you've got Slay City Slayers versus the Champ is Here. Slay City Slayers is one of those teams who's on borderline of the playoffs, one game out. Tell you what happens this week, he could possibly be in the playoffs. But he's got to get past the Champ is Here, who is needing a win this week to basically just stay alive at this point. Well, not stay alive, but he's 2 games back in playoffs himself. So obviously he wants to get that victory too. After that heartbreaking one to RG3 last week, you know he wants it this week. Also, Slay City Slayers, you know, has been a very up and down team. Can he get 2 wins in a row? We'll see. He's got Matthew Stafford at quarterback, Lamar Miller and Zach Stacy at running back, AJ Green and Brian Hartline, at the receiver, tight end Heath Miller, flex Antonio Brown and Jeremy Curley, Bengals D and the D, and then Dan Bailey at kicker. Being the Champ is Here is Cam Newton or something. CJ Spiller and Pierre Thomas at running back, Victor Cruz and Eric Decker at receiver, tight end Jordan Reed, who's become pretty big, Larry Fitzgerald and Josh Gordon at flex, Chiefs D versus Cleveland, and Kai Forbath as his kicker. It's tough for me to say. What I really think here is that both these teams have weaknesses, but I feel like the Champ is Here's weakness this week at running back is going to hurt him. Pierre Thomas is no freaking big running back that you want to start every week. He can have big weeks, but you can't count on him every week. And CJ Spiller, Last I heard, he only had 13 snaps. Only had 9 rushes last week. I think it was 9 rushes last week. Fred Jackson's getting all the carries. You got to think C.J. Spiller, when he has that ankle injury, his coach says one thing, like, oh, he's not doing too good. C.J. Spiller's like, I'm okay. I'm all right. I can play. I'm good. My ankle's right. It's fine. So it depends whose side you take. But basically, I'm just saying, C.J. Spiller isn't going to get a ton of snaps, you don't think. So I can't predict anything big. And even when he has got the snaps, he hasn't really done too much. So I'm going to give the edge to Slacey Slayers, despite them picking Champions here to win by 13 points. I do want to look at the bench of Slacey Slayers. Steven Jackson is talked about being able to play, and he actually saying he feels pretty good. So if he plays, you gotta think that you would start him over Jeremy Carney, who had one, isn't really a crazy good player. But if Steven Jackson plays, I think you've got to take the chance. I mean, I guess you could play the whole game of until he goes out and plays and does good. I'm not going to start him. I'll miss one game where he does good. But just my opinion. The Batman knows all. So there's that matchup. And I think we got one more. Trinca Forte versus Team Roy. Battle of the Brothers. Says that Team Roy hasn't set his lineup yet, so we're going to have to kind of mishmash this for him. First off, you got Drew Brees at quarterback, Marshawn Lynch and Le'Veon Bell, this is Trinca Forte, at running back, Marquise Colston and Emmanuel Sanders at receiver, tight end, Greg Olsen, flex, Rashard Mendenhall and Julian Edelman, D, Panthers D, kicker, Phil Dawson. Over on this side, we're going to expand the bench so we can help them out as we go along. Peyton Manning at quarterback. Then D'Angelo Williams and Aaron Foster, who's on a bye, so I'm expecting Darren Sproles to take that spot. Reggie Wayne and Torrey Smith are both on a bye, so at receiver, you're probably going to see Santana Moss and Donnie Avery, because that's all he's got right now, as far as receivers. Then at tight end, you got Rob Gronkowski. Flex, Mike Wallace, and Terrence Williams. and Terrence Williams. Cardinals D, at D, and kicker is going to be David Akers. With those lineups, I gotta give the edge to Trinca Forte. I think Team Roy's losing streak goes to 5. I just don't think, he's done okay this season, really. For his first season of fantasy football, he's the younger guy, he's the rookie, he's the new blood. But he's done pretty good. 2-5 right now. I think he'll end at 2-6. I think Sean will get the, saying people's names. Trinca Forte will go to 3-5. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Unfortunately, it's a battle for last place between the two brothers. Maybe their family's just not good at fantasy football. Maybe the Kylo should just, Kylo, Roy, the brothers, maybe they just, retire. Because maybe it's just not in their genes. So basically, that's that. One more time. I think that in RGB3PO and Team Multiple Goregasms, that it's going to be super close. I really didn't pick it. I kind of said, I think I can win. I think he can. So, no choice right there. But if I pick one, Multiple Goregasms, I think, because of bye weeks, may have a better chance of winning this. But I still think that RG3PO gets the win. Because I'm RG3PO and I do what I want. Anyway, user pick, I think we'll win against American Joker. Team Megatron is going to beat down Hernandez and Chains. Stacey Slayers is going to beat Champions here. And Trinca Forte can beat Team Roy. Now, before we go on here, I do want to point out piece of shit of the week. Something I'm trying to do regularly now. Guy who just did absolute shit. Now, the obvious choice would be Jay Cutler at negative 0.9 points. But he got injured. He can't be a piece of shit just for getting injured. And let's be honest, you should have started Aaron Rodgers anyway. Despite the matchup, Aaron Rodgers, he's a top 5 quarterback that you just need to start every week. You don't ever bench him. You don't get cute and say, oh, hey, I'm going to bench Aaron Rodgers because this matchup looks nice. Aaron Rodgers can do good no matter what's going on. Now, the piece of shit of the week, to be honest with you, let's see here. I'm going to look around, because I was going to say Jay Cutler, but then I started really thinking about it, and you got to think to yourself, hey, what is base, you know? He's not his fault. But I could give you one thing. Guy that's probably on my radar for piece of shit of the season. Tom Brady. 7.1 points this week. Talk about fantasy bust. Tom Brady is one of the worst quarterbacks in fantasy football right now. I mean, he's done nothing all year. Trying to find where he went. I want to say he was on Enrico Forte's team. Let's see. Piece of shit of the week. Still trying to find him. He's not on any of these teams. What the fuck? I mean, you could say Brandon Jacobs, but he was hurt, and then last minute they're like, oh, he's done. So that kind of sucks. Maybe he was on my team. Maybe that's what I'm trying to think of. Hold on. I apologize. Trying to figure this shit out, and I can't. Okay, there it is. I found it. Chip is here. I knew he was in my matchup. Team Man Chip is here. Josh Gordon has been a big player all season. People have been saying, oh, Josh Gordon's going to be a great receiver. He's going to be the best ever. This week he gets 3.1 points. Are you fucking kidding me? Another guy that you could probably throw in there is Trent Richardson. He has done shit. 1.7 points. When Champ is here really needed the points, Trent Richardson didn't come through. And neither did Victor Cruz, but at least he got 7.5 points. So that's basically that. As far as my piece of shit of the week, I'm going to give it to Trent Richardson and Josh Gordon, who did nothing. Guys that are projected to do good and didn't do shit. Absolute shit. They did nothing. So there's shit. So basically, there's your wrap-up. I will wrap this shit up like I fucking do. I got the preview, and now I'm going to have an interview with multiple goregasms about our matchup. We're going to talk about this. Because I think I'm going to win, he thinks he's going to win. We're going to talk. We'll be right back with that. Okay, senors, now joining me on the show is multiple goregasms. Welcome to the show.
Hey, dude, it's gonna be big on, dude.
Yes, we face each other this week for the first time this year. Why are you going to win?
I just put a lot of work into my team, and I think I'm gonna beat you. Your team is no good, and I just talk about it so much, and everybody hates me, so I need to win because of it.
Oh, wow. Well, good. Now, since you were on the show last time, you've gone 0-2. Are you jinxed because of the show?
Yeah, I'm pretty jinxed right now. My team, the jinx it's getting to be too much.
I see. Why do you think you're going to beat me? Which player do you think is going to perform well for you this week? Right, Aaron Rodgers? Alright. Well, there you have it. Multiple goregasms. That's it for the show. Adios. Oh, and one more thing, multiple goregasms. Hasta la vista, multiple goregasms.